Ladies and gentlemen, this is KageKaze, apologizing for the lack of any kind of game video in the background to keep you entertained. Unfortunately, as of this recording, the PTR is down, so I really have nothing to grab right now to show you. Kind of a shame, but hey, what's happened today is that Blizzard released their information on the Monster Power system at long last. That's right, we have a blog post from Blizzard detailing everything from turning on Monster Power to all the benefits that it will give you. If you remember in my previous Monster Power video, I covered in detail what you could expect to gain from Monster Power, including the Gold Find, the Magic Find, and the Experience Boost. I also provided a link to a forum post on Diablo fans that went over monster health values, at least what we could find according to bosses. It wasn't perfect, but we had a rough idea of where things were going. So Blizzard has finally released the numbers that we were looking for, showing not only the monster health that we were trying to calculate, but the monster damage as well. This is something I know a lot of you had been asking for, and it's been something that I had been unable to quantify, especially without getting exact values from game files. So as you can see, Monster Health gets a 30% increase for every point of Monster Power that you turn on, going all the way up to 300% additional health. Monster damage does not go up that much, only 10% per Monster Power point, eventually making monsters hit twice as hard for Monster Power 10. This I know was especially asked when I was doing the Leoric fight on Monster Power 10, and now you can see that his hits will now hit you twice as hard. So if I didn't have some of the better gear I had crafted, he probably would have taken me out pretty quick when I got careless. All other numbers here are exactly as I presented them from the last video, and you can peruse that at your leisure. We finally get some exact numbers for monster health and damage for Inferno difficulty. At Monster Power 1, the monsters only gain about 50% additional health, but as you can see, you go up to Monster Power 10, and they're gaining 30 times their health or more. Quite a bit of a jump there, making Monster Power 10 fairly inefficient when you take that by itself. Monster damage does not go up as quickly as monster health, but as you can see, it starts to ramp up the higher it goes. Again, making it seem like higher levels of monster power are not going to be very good for efficient farming of either experience or items. However, there is something new here. As you can see, the XP, Magic, and Gold Find are the numbers exactly as I showed them in the previous video, but the new one there at the bottom is the bonus item category. This was never hinted at and never explained to us until now, so this is brand new information coming from Blizzard. At every point of monster power, you get an additional chance for items to drop off of everything that you kill. So starting at Monster Power 1, you have a 1% extra chance of items to drop. So this shows that Monster Power 1 is not a lot. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that they even included a bonus item percentage for Monster Power 1. Because the biggest benefit of going into Monster Power 1 is to be able to farm all the acts 1 through 4, at the same monster level 63, which provides every item that you find with stats equal to item level 63. Doesn't matter if that item drops as a 60, as a 58, the stats on that item are going to be of item level 63. The exception here is, of course, the base stats. For example, on a piece of armor, the actual armor value is dictated by the item level. On a weapon, the raw damage values of the weapon are dictated by the item level. However, all the stats that can proc on that item, including elemental damages, percent of crits, things like that, those are all going to be of 63 value. Which of course does mean that amulets and rings are getting a buff with this patch, bringing them up to 63 because they could only go up to 62 previously. This is worded very specifically to be a bonus item. At first glance, you might think that this is improving the drop chance in general. So you look at this, you see at Monster Power 1, you get about 1%. You go all the way up to Monster Power 10, you get 100%. You might think, okay, so if a monster drops an item, that means he'll always drop 2. If he drops 2, he'll drop 4. No, it's 1 item, bonus item. Keep that in mind for this, because it seems like this could have been something to drastically change how farming is done, especially when it comes to higher monster power. There's a potential there that higher monster power can now be more beneficial than previously thought, because now you have more items dropping for you. And by nature, more items dropping means a better chance of good items. Now, this is something that happens similar to Diablo 2. If you think back to the Monsters 8 command that you could type in. That command simulated having 8 players in the game, whether you did or didn't. And because of that, more items were dropping because it was anticipating more people being there, and so it was trying to share additional loot. They've gone away from additional items to make it an additional item. Now keep in mind, this is analogous to the Barbarian's Grim Harvest skill. And this extra item can be not only an item, but it can be gold and it can be potions. So when you start to think about efficient farming tactics, a lot of people had assumed that a fairly moderate monster power would be the best way to go, as killing efficiency is what you're generally looking for when you're farming for items or experience. You don't want the monsters to be too tough that you're taking forever to kill them, then that extra magic find and gold find isn't going to be worth it. And let's face it, when it comes to a bonus item, that isn't really worth it either. If it was maybe more than one item, I could see this making it so that people will want to farm on higher and higher monster power levels. As it is, it really looks like it's not going to do too much. It's going to be a nice little bonus, but it really won't be enough to tilt the scales one way or the other. The other thing that was revealed here is the absolute numbers for what monster power is going to do when you're trying to farm pieces of the Infernal Machine or the ring that you can get from killing the Uber bosses. Originally, the only number we had to go on was that the monster power would eventually make it so you could have a 100% chance of one of the items to drop for the ring or for the Infernal Machine at monster power 10. We were told that this would scale. So everyone assumed, of course, that it was going to be 10% per monster power. That made it a nice package. Monster power 1, 10%, 2, 20%. Well, we have official confirmation now that is true. So every monster power level that you have increases your chance to get one of these items by 10%. So I personally can farm monster power 3 fairly well. That gives me about a 30% chance every time I kill a Key Warden or if I fight the Uber bosses that the item I want is going to drop. And it is fully guaranteed. If you can handle monster power 10, then you only have to do it once, because you're going to get those items every time. Keep in mind, you still need to get 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor in order to get these items at all. And that has not changed yet. We'll have to wait until the Infernal Machine blog comes out in order to verify that. Lastly, for those who were concerned, Blizzard has gone ahead and put our minds at ease and said, here you go. Here are the values of all of the item drops. You saw that in Act 1 you only had about a 2% chance to get item level 63. In Act 2 you got a 4%. Acts 3 and 4 you got 8. Well, with monster power, all the monster levels were going up to 63, so people wanted to know, does the chance that an item drops of higher item level increase as well? Well, it does. So as you can see, once you turn on monster power, everything Acts 1 through 4 will be equal to Acts 3 and 4 as they are on live right now for monster drops. Now keep in mind that the item level again is not nearly as important as it once was, because we are still going to be seeing item level 63 stats rolling on these items, just not on the base items, again that being things like armor and raw weapon damage. Now I have been reading some posts that say that these monster power levels as they go up the rewards just don't seem to match the difficulty, and I agree to a certain extent. I think it's very true that your efficiency is going to just plummet like a stone as you start pulling that monster power higher and higher, unless you've got insane amounts of gear. And of course this is going to be up to each individual person to figure out what can they farm and how much time do they want to invest in it, as well as how much difficulty do they want to present themselves. I think the beauty behind the system as it is right now is, even though the efficiency drops and the rewards don't seem quite there, you have to take into consideration that this also provides some difficulty for people that want it. Some people are going to want to play Monster Power 10 just to make things difficult for themselves, provide a challenge, to make things not so easy. I know I, for one, will be playing a little bit of the lower difficulty levels on Monster Power 10 just to see if I can handle it. Leveling my wizard on the PTR from level 1 to 11 was a very interesting challenge, and it made me have to think about what I was doing and how I was moving, and even think about how I was building my character that early on. You think about it, I only had about 3 skill slots at that point, and I didn't have a lot of abilities, but I had to think, which one am I going to find more beneficial to help me survive? So far, I think that the changes they've made to builds as well as this monster power system to make things a little more difficult and provide us with a little bit more reward is going to keep the game a little more interesting for a little while longer. It's obviously not a perfect system. A lot of people still really want to see PvP come out, and I fully understand that. Not being a PvP player, I still see the drive behind it. It's something that keeps you playing, keeps you interested, because from match to match, things are always going to be different. You won't be fighting the same opponents, they won't be of the same skill level, and it will always provide you with a constant scale of difficulty and challenge. Overall, I think I've been very pleased with this patch. I'm hoping that it comes out soon. Judging by these blog posts, I don't think we have very long to wait. Once the Monster Power one comes out, we may even see it the Tuesday after. Hopefully you're as excited as I am to see this come out and play it on live so that of course our progress doesn't get wiped from the PTR again. But if you're not, hey, think about it this way. You've got lots of alternatives coming out now. It's a good time to be an action RPG fan. Love it or leave it, this is KageKaze, reporting on the latest news for patch 105. See y'all next time.